Hi, everybody. Drew here, and welcome to a long overdue episode of the Neurotic Knitter podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. I'm actually reporting live from my new home in Alexandria, Virginia. That's part of the reason why it's taken me such a long time to do a podcast. And thank you all for watching and staying with me. Apologies for the messiness in the background, and I'm just trying to figure out my new setup here. So I have got a lot less space, including no upstairs space, which I had before, which was kind of a nice, kind of like crafty spot to film my podcast. So I'll have to identify some new spots in the apartment for the podcast going forward. I'm so excited to just catch everybody up on what's been going on. This will be mostly life updates, although I've got some knitting stuff in here too that I'm really excited to share with you. And I've got a little bootleg list. Normally I like type a list, but today I'm just doing it on the fly for reasons that I will mention in a moment. So, and then I'm Drew Jacobs 83 on Ravelry, and I'm Drew in real life on Instagram. Those are the major channels to follow me on social media if you are interested. So, number one is the move. So just in terms of updates. So long story short, oh gosh, it's a long story. So 2019 was just kind of a crazy year for our family, my partner and I, and our cute little dogs who are over here sleeping off camera in the sunshine. I guess the best way to put it is that we just needed a change. We had been in Arkansas for a little over 4 years, and as we got, we're both kind of marching towards 40. We'll both be 40 very soon. And so I think we just wanted to kind of evaluate where we were living and what we were doing and our job stuff. And we just came to the decision that my partner, who was an academic for a long time, and still is an academic, was going to kind of broaden his horizon a little bit in terms of the kinds of work that he would take on. So all that being said, he ended up with a great opportunity here in the Washington, D.C. metro area, working for a very large and notable university. So that's really exciting and a big step for him. So super proud of him. We're also excited to be here because our families are Midwest and East Coast based. So I'm from Michigan originally. My family's in Metro Detroit. And my partner has family on Long Island in New York. And so moving this way is just helping us feel a lot closer to our family, which was really hard when we were in Arkansas. We were making a lot of trips home, and we just felt really remote. We felt far away from everything. The crazy thing that happened as a result of this, so I was just going to continue on in my job at the foundation, which has an office in DC. And that was my plan. There was an incredible job that came available in my field here in Washington, D.C. that really combines a lot of my interests. So I went for that in about August, and I found out in late October that I got the job. So I am going to start a new job tomorrow, which is crazy. I've had about 10 days off. We moved to D.C. at the end of October. And then the first part of November, I finished out with the foundation, and then I've had about a 10-day break. And I'm now going to work for my new firm, which is called Kaboom. It's got kind of an interesting name, but their mission is to build playgrounds in disinvested and underserved communities across the country. And they really advocate for and believe in the power of play and physical activity for kids. And so I'm really excited. I'm going to help them start their measurement and evaluation work. So it's quite literally a dream job for me to be able to take everything I've learned over the last few years and apply that to something brand new. So I'm really excited, and I'm pumped about the mission. I think kids need lots of things, And I've had the honor of being an advocate in the K-12 kind of within school, like classroom space for a long time. And this will be a little bit of a shift into physical activity, health and youth, playgrounds, and I'm really excited. I think it's so important that our kids get the best of everything. So I'm just really excited to start. So that'll be tomorrow. So today I'm running around like a crazy person. I've got to go to the orthodontist. Still have braces on. So I got to do that, and I'm doing laundry and errands and grocery shopping and like emailing about like what time I need to arrive and like what I got to wear. And it's going to be really interesting because I've not been new somewhere in almost 5 years. So you know how it is when you start a new job. It's just like, I don't know, you got to find your rhythm. You have to understand what the culture is like, all that good stuff. So I'm in for all of that. Still nursing my coffee over here. So yeah, we both have new jobs. Mike started his in August, so he's like a little bit more, excuse me, he's a little bit more in the groove. But what I will say is he's been remote for 3 months or so, and then he had to kind of get into the office. So it was kind of like he started in early November. So he's also feeling kind of like we're both feeling good, but it's just like a lot of change for both of us in a very short amount of time. But it's huge blessing. Like we are so thankful for this opportunity. We're living in Old Town Alexandria, which is just like something beyond my wildest dreams. Like I never thought that I would live somewhere so nice. So that's been really, really exciting as well. We really like our neighborhood, and yeah, I got rid of my car. So it's just like lots of changes, you know, things that seem kind of small, but really they kind of add up to a lot. So we're keeping each other sane, and that's going on with that. I also just returned from Michigan for the holiday break. So I went to see my family for Thanksgiving. That was really exciting. As I mentioned, I'm from Metro Detroit, so I got to see all of my Michigan folks and spend some time there, which was really great. I ended up not feeling well for a portion of it, so I just kind of used it as an opportunity to recharge my batteries a little bit as I like launch into this new endeavor. But I still got to see some of my knitting friends, which is really exciting, and have breakfast with them and knit for a little while. And I saw my sister and my aunt, which is exciting. So yeah, I miss Michigan. You know, I think it's a wonderful place. It's a really great place to visit. It was giving me like the normal Michigan weather situation. So it was like gray and nearly dark, like all the time. And it just reminded me of like the doldrums of winter in Michigan, which are really bad. It's like just dark. That's what makes it like depressing there. It's not that it's like so cold. It's just that it's dark and gray and everything's dead for like 5.5 or 6 months. Maybe not that long. Maybe like 4.5. We'll see. Okay, so on to knitting projects. One project that you can kind of see, and I'm not gonna mess with my little setup because it's kind of precarious, as I mentioned, but Mike helped me build 2 large IKEA cabinets, actually 3, 2 large cabinets and then like a smaller piece for my yarn projects and other knitting related things. So I've got those like over here to the side. There's not really a good way for me to set up so you all can see this, but maybe I'll take you on a tour at some point. So that is exciting. I've got everything accessible now. And I have had the opportunity to work on some things. I've been so bad lately, y'all. Like I'm just casting on and casting on and casting on, which is really bad. But also really fun. So, you know, I'm not that upset about it, basically. But I want to show you a couple of the things I'm working on and hope to not dip them in my coffee. We'll see if I'm successful. Okay, I was successful with the first one. So this one's kind of exciting because it involves a yarn that I don't normally work with, or I haven't worked with, I should say. And so this is a scarf. Oh yeah, that looks good. You can really see the detail. It's hard to explain, but this is going to be like a big parallelogram. I can't believe I said that word without tripping up. Exciting. It's called Solve, SOLV, and the O has like one of those like, I don't know, it's from like Norway or Scandinavia, like a thing through it. So if it doesn't come up immediately, that could be why, because I don't really know how to type the O with the little... Anyway, this is out of a yarn called Luft, and I'll try to get in there so you can see. It's really interesting. It's like this, I don't even know what you would call it. Like it's like a netting almost. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's like a netting, and then the fiber is like, so it's the netting I think is made of cotton. It's like a 55 wool and 45 cotton, which is like the first thing that like normally would turn me off because I hate knitting with cotton. But anyway, it's got this kind of cotton tube, and then merino fluff is kind of blown into it. I had a couple friends who have been knitting with this. So my friend Chris, she was making a sweater out of this, and it was gorgeous, and it was so soft. And I was really quite surprised with the fabric, you know, because the other thing I'll say is like, you would think that maybe it has like a lot of halo, but it doesn't have too much. It's not, I mean, it's got like a little bit of like fluffy going on, but it's not insane. I've also like recently become somewhat obsessed with like Aran and bulky weight yarns, and I've basically only been knitting with like worsted and up lately, because I just don't have it in me right now to do fingering weight projects. Like it's just, they're just too tiny, and it's cold, and I want to be knitting like chunky knits. So anyway, Solve, it's by Cecilia Camp something, the sequence knitting person. It's from her, and I'm so happy with it. It's literally a 1-row pattern. I won't give the one row away, but like the 1 row combined with the number of stitches that you have on the needle, and then some like an increase and a decrease thing at the end, gives you this fabric, which is basically like stockinette, garter, and then reverse stockinette. And I'm sure you can see it. Like if I go in close, you see stockinette, then you see a couple bumps of garter, then you see the reverse stockinette, then a couple more bumps of garter, and then regular stockinette. So it's kind of cool. It's like a very subtle situation, and I picked this really pretty silvery gray. I just thought that would be really, really nice. So that's one thing I'm working on, Solve. Okay, putting that over here. I'm gonna grab this one next. So you can see that I've been frequenting my local yarn store. What? I cannot believe Fiberspace is my local yarn store. That is just crazy to say. And I'm taking full advantage of it, and I will continue to do so, because holy crap. What? That's amazing. Anyway, and they're so nice in there. I've been in there like a zillion times. Like, I'm not kidding. I've been in there like way too many times for like how long I've lived here. Sorry. Hope you enjoy my business. Okay. So the next project I'm working on is a scarf called Notch, Notch, Notch. And this is by Nora Gone for Brooklyn Tweed. So she did this for Brooklyn Tweed a while back. And let me show you. Let me see if, oh yeah, okay, yeah, it's coming up nicely. I'll try to go way in so you can see some of the detail. But essentially what this is some mistake rib along with a little bit of open work with these kind of double yarn over columns. I just loved it because it's really got a lot of good texture. I'm working with Brooklyn Tweed Quarry, which is their chunky weight yarn. Again, I told you I was like a little bit obsessed with chunky, and like, let me show you the yarn. So this is the yarn Cake. The color is, I think it's translating pretty well, but it's like a real dark, broody kind of red, like a red-brown. It's called hematite, and it's got these little like lighter flecks in it. So it's really super, super gorgeous. yeah, this is another really good pattern. It's just a 2-row pattern. You have to pay a little bit of attention, but not too much. And one question that I was kind of grappling with, or not question, but just one thing I was considering when I started out making this was, is this going to be too rough, like Quarry Yarn for a scarf? And honestly, like, because it's on a big needle, because it's got like a little bit of the mistake rib, which gives it some squish, and it's got the open work, so it just has like a really good drape about it. So I'm feeling really good about this, and I am excited to finish a project out of Quarry and then wash it. I got some of that really nice lanolin infused like soak, so it'll kind of soften up even a little bit more. And then I'm excited to wear it and see if it will actually be okay to make other scarves out of, because there's several other chunky scarves that I want to make out of Quarry. So we'll see. This is kind of an experiment, but it's been really fun to knit on so far. And it was a huge wrap. I think it was going to be like really wide, and I reduced the number of stitches, so it'll still be pretty wide, but it'll be more like in the scarf lane versus like a huge wrap situation. So that one was called Notch, Noragon. Not a lot of people have made it, and I'm not really sure why. I mean, I think it takes a while to kind of get in the rhythm with the directions, and you could also totally do it with a yarn that's not Quarry. So if like Quarry is not your jam, you could totally do it with something else. Okay, a couple more things to show you. Fiber space problem. Okay. I'm also really excited about this, and this is what has like been like active on my needles. So a person that I follow on Instagram, Purple Bran, his name is Brandon, and he's a male knitter, and he lives in Metro Detroit, Ann Arbor, I think. Knits the most beautiful stuff. Like, we all have those people in our feed, and he's one of them. Like, everything he makes is just so beautiful and classic, and he's got really good taste in patterns and colors and stuff. So he had made this scarf called Dunaway, Dunaway. And it is by Julie Hoover. Also, it's a Brooklyn tweed pattern. And it was beautiful, and he made it out of Brooklyn Tweed Arbor, which I had never worked with before. Brooklyn Tweed Arbor is kind of a smoother base from Brooklyn Tweed. It's not as like tweedy and rough, and it's in the DK weight kind of family, and they've got a lot of really good colors. So I'm making this scarf, and here's my little scarf. So I did a tubular cast on, and I read in the pattern that it said you can leave your little, like, you use waste yarn when you do a tubular cast on, as many of you know, and it said that I could leave my little waste yarn in, so then that way when I go to block this this edge, because it kind of holds in a little bit, so it'll need just like a little bit of like a, if I leave the tubular yarn in, it will keep it from over blocking. So I don't know if that really is true, but I'm just leaving it in for now. It's kind of a cool pattern too, because, whoops, you've got this slip stitch thing happening on the front, and you can see that there's garter stitch in between each of those columns. And then on the back, because you're purling and kind of recreating garter, you get what looks to be like just plain garter fabric, though there's some pearls kind of snuck in there. So it's really kind of a cool design, because it's very simple and easy to knit on, and it also is kind of reversible. The other thing that I'll say is I really like kind of it's very squishy, which I love things like that. And also the weight is really good. Like, it's not too heavy. So Arbor, I will definitely be working with this yarn again, because I really am enjoying it. The color I'm using is called Klimt. And you can see it's kind of just like a gold, a little on the darker side of gold. They had a color that I almost got that was like a click up from this in terms of brightness. Maybe next time I'm going to do something like a little flashier. So yeah, those are like the 3 projects that I'm kind of actively working on right now. There's probably about 24 more that I should be working on. yeah, so those are my projects. And then the one other thing I wanted to show, which is not new, but I just wanted to show. I got this book while I was at Fiberspace, Strange Brew. And many of you probably have patterns from here or have knit stuff out of here. So good. Like, I don't know, this is probably one of the best books I own for knitting. I mean, there's just so many things in here that I would make. I think the instructions are really good. It's very much like, here's the recipe, but then if you want to go your own way, like, here's how you could do that. Do you want to knit it from the bottom up? Do you want to knit from the top down? Like, I mean, it just goes on, and it's great in like a really great way, and in a way where it goes on, but it's not like 5,000,000,100 pages. Like one that I'm excited about in here that I will probably make Mike, since he's like so overdue for a sweater, is this Marshland sweater, which I'm sure many of you have heard of or seen. I'll probably do the color palette that the child is wearing because that's more of a like a Mike color palette. But anyway, there's just so much good stuff in here. So I'm plugging this because I think it's really good. And if you're somebody who hasn't done color work, this is a good place to start because there's lots of fun things to do in here and really good instructions about how to do color work well and all the things you need to know. Good book. What else? So beyond that, a couple of just general updates. One, we're going to New York for Christmas, so that's really exciting. That'll be happening in like late December. I'm also going to go to Vogue Knitting Live, so that's new as of like this morning. I booked my hotel today, and I don't know if I'm going to take classes or not. I'm kind of on the fence. Most of them are sold out, so I kind of need to see if there's anything that I really am interested in. And I'm not always the best with classes. I don't like to sit still. I'm not great with homework. I'm not good at following directions in classes. I like to like work ahead, which is sometimes bad. And sometimes I think offends the teacher and possibly the other students. So anyway, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna see my friend Amber, and I think my friend Heather is gonna be there. My friend Hayes is gonna be there, I think. So, and whoever else, I would love to see everybody. I think I'm gonna take the train up on Friday from Washington, D.C. I'm gonna stay close to the event, and then probably come back on Monday, since the Monday like following is a work holiday for me. I'm not allowed to take any personal time for the first 90 days of my new job, so I have to kind of squeak these things in as I can until about March. So I think that's it for me. This has been like a very short podcast, which might be a blessing to many. Who knows? I have to head to the orthodontist in like 20 minutes. I'm so excited I'm in the home stretch with that. I can't even tell you. And yeah, that's what's going on with me. I'm going to hope to do more podcasts in the future. And one thing that I'm definitely planning on doing is interviews. So this has been a goal of mine for a long time, and I'm going to be working now over the next couple of weeks to secure my first few interviews, which will probably begin with a couple of my friends. Like I have this idea around just interviewing like regular folk, like not Knitterati, not the names everybody's, talking about on Instagram, but just like my friends and other people in the fiber community who I've met, other male knitters, because there's so many talented male knitters out there. And I just want to walk through like a series of really exciting, at least I think exciting and hopeful and fun questions in an interview format. So I think I'll probably do something like Zoom video, which you can record and then post on YouTube. So anyway, I think that's all for me. So good to see you guys. So sorry it was such a long time in between posting my last podcast and this one. I promise to do more in the future. And until next time, take care.